Another part of building confidence and self-esteem is taking small risks and learning from the successes and learning from the failures. We're living, growing organisms, developing and evolving. And as long as we're learning, we no longer need to be guilty. And there's no room for shame. Welcome to another episode of Rich in Relationship. And today we are talking about rebuilding your self-identity after divorce. So really what this is about is divorce is a transformative process, and we can embrace it and be proactive, or we can be reactive and leave claw marks all the way behind us. But either way, we're basically breaking down who we were and recreating ourselves into who we will be. And not only are we breaking down who we were, we're letting go of an image of who we will be. And we're going to talk about that more this episode. How are you? So glad to be back and continuing this series on divorce. Got a few more to go. We got workshops for you in January and February you should check out. We've got master classes available. Whatever you're looking for, whatever resources you need, whatever help you need, Rich in Relationship has the content that will help you to rebuild your self-identity. All right, let's talk about it. As I hinted, not only are you dissolving the marriage, but along with dissolving the marriage, we are letting go of all the dreams and hopes that we had with that person. And we're basically letting go of an image that we had of ourselves as part of that marriage. We're dissolving a kind of relationship. And particularly if we have children, we're creating another kind of relationship. If we don't have children, that relationship may be very distant. We may never talk to that person again, or on very rare occasions talk to them again. But if we have children, we are committed to talking to them because we know it's in the best interest of our children to have a relationship with that person, and therefore we will as well. And so in either case, we're going to let go of the relationship as we hoped it would be. We're going to let go of the hopes and the dreams. We're also going to let go of the disappointments. We're going to let go of the blame. We're going to let go of the hurt. We're going to let go of the fear. We're going to let go of the anxiety. All those things that led to this divorce, we need to let go of them first. Well, that sounds easy, right? It should be just as easy as letting go, right? Should be. But sometimes letting go is not so easy, and we've got a number of processes here that can help you with that. We've got a mental and emotional release process, which is clinically proven to be effective in rapid-fire release of old beliefs and old emotions. We've got some written processes that are incorporated in the Divorce Detox, which you can see on the shelf behind me. I don't happen to have a copy with me today to wave in front of you, but we've got processes that can help you with that. And there are literally hundreds of processes out there to help you to let go of the old and bring in the new. But if you don't let go of the old, the problem is you're going to start recreating the old. And why is that? This is a life of be, do, have. Some people talk about the law of attraction, right? They say we attract where we're coming from. But really what we're doing, rather than attracting what we're coming from, is that when we are in an emotional state and we haven't let go of those old emotions, we recreate that situation again and again and again until we let go of and heal those emotions. A lot of the couples that I work with, in fact, there is an understanding that the very problem that seems to be driving them apart is often the key to unlocking what emotions it is they need to let go of to have healthy working relationships. And similarly in divorce, there are emotions we need to let go of in order to have healthy working relationships. We want to let go of the old emotions from our family, the things we learned from our families that just don't work. We want to let go of the emotions that drew a person like that into our lives so that we can create something new, create something different, because there are four, count them, 4 prerequisites to change. Number one, guess what's coming? You got to let go. You got to let go of the old emotions. You got to let go of limiting beliefs. You got to clear the deck. Number two, you need to, from that clear deck, create a new vision, a new strategy for where it is you want to go. Because if we create a strategy without clearing the deck, the strategy is tainted by the old emotions and limiting beliefs of the past, and it tends to take us back to the same old place. Can I share a story with you? When I divorced my first wife, I was sure that I was getting rid of all of the problems I had in my life. I was getting rid of a relationship with a partner who was unable to show up emotionally for me or for my children. I was getting rid of a relationship with a partner who didn't manage money well. I was getting rid of a relationship with a partner who didn't clean up much or have much of a sense of order or organization, who was kind of chaotic, and I'm being diplomatic. I let all those things go, I thought. I was giving that stuff up. And I got into a relationship with a woman who was the opposite of that. She was an excellent mother. She showed up emotionally for the kids and for me, and she was very well organized. And yet, after a couple of years of marriage, I found myself feeling as if I wasn't being emotionally cared for. I found myself feeling as if I was living with a disseminator of chaos. I felt like I was living with someone who wasn't truly showing up for my children the way I wanted her to show up. I felt like I was in the same boat, completely different person, completely different cultural background, completely different skill sets, and yet it felt the same. And it's because I hadn't let go of the old emotions and limiting beliefs that I thought I was exorcising like an exorcist from my life when I divorced my first wife. And I got to tell you, when I finally let go of that stuff, my second marriage blossomed unbelievably. And I'm not saying that I should have stayed with my first wife. What I'm saying is, when we let go of what we think the problem is, we find that some of that problem, some taste of it, still shows up even under very different circumstances, because we haven't changed always what's inside of us. Once we have a strategy that is untainted by the past, we then need to act. So in recreating our new self, we're going to let go of the old stuff. We're going to create a strategy for who it is we want to be in relationship, for who it is we want to be as men and women, for who it is we want to be as partners, assuming we still want one, for who it is we want to be as members of our extended family, for who it is we want to be as members of our community, for who it is we want to be as partners in this thing we call the planet Earth. We're going to recreate ourselves in all those areas with a clean slate. And we're going to act on it. We're going to take action. We're going to break that strategy down into milestones and act on it. And then the last piece is, we're going to adjust, because we're going to find out, guess what? We did not anticipate everything that would come up, because we're still learning and growing. We did not anticipate, but maybe there's some other things we need to work on in ourselves. We did not anticipate that there were circumstances that we'd never experienced that we were experiencing ill, and sometimes we need help with that. Those are the 4 prerequisites for change. Those are the 4 prerequisites for your journey of self-discovery. The 4 prerequisites for rebuilding your self-identity, for becoming a phoenix, rising out of the ashes of your doors, for rediscovering yourself during and after the divorce. And if you want to be the phoenix, you need to leap on that opportunity that those 4 prerequisites represent. And when we do that, we have a whole opportunity to discover parts of ourselves. You will find that there were parts of yourselves that you did not pay attention to. Little voices that spoke to you that you did not pay attention to because you didn't want to rock the boat in that marriage. You will find there were sides of yourself that you didn't develop because you knew that if you engaged in that, it was going to upset something in that relationship. You're going to find a new freedom when you go down this path. And when you start listening to those voices, You're going to start exploring new interests, and you're going to rediscover your passion. And so many of us in divorce find that we've been leading passionless, dry lives, trying in our marriage to make something work, to make that square peg go through the round hole. And suddenly, when we really let it go, when we're really ready to move on, when we step out of blame and hurt and fear into self-exploration, into excitement, into nurturing a new lives for ourselves and our children, everything starts to change. Everything starts to transform. Everything starts to crack-a-lack, as we used to say back in the hood. And every little passion, every little idea that you let bubble to the surface and you start to explore is going to build your self-esteem. And you're going to, let's face it, right? Well, we're divorce, part of divorce is you feel like, oh my God, what a failure I am. I'm either a failure for marrying a failure like that, or I'm a failure for not having the relationship work, or I'm a failure for not being able to grow and thrive in this environment, or my kids are so messed up as a result of my doing that. We're going to rebuild our self-esteem. And rebuilding our self-esteem actually starts with taking better care of ourselves. It sounds narcissistic, and it is a little bit, but it's the old, you put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you put it on anyone else analogy that we're all so familiar with. You got to take care of your bod. You got to take care of your mind. You got to take care of your feelings. You got to take care of your spirit. And when you have those things, when you're filling those gas tanks, then you can show up 110% for those dumplings who deserve your love, those dumplings who deserve your full attention. You can give them your full attention. When you're sacrificing for them, you're actually not giving them your full attention because you're denying yourself your own needs. Hey, and I'm not saying that we don't need to sacrifice from time to time. What I'm saying is part of building our confidence and self-esteem is actually caring for ourselves. Another part of building confidence and self-esteem is taking small risks, like listening to the little voice that I was talking about, and learning from the successes and learning from the failures. Part of building our self-confidence and our self-esteem is learning from the failure that marriage was. Where did I drop the ball? How did I blow it? Remember that story I told you? My second marriage didn't blossom until I looked at what is it about me that I perceive lack even when there's abundance. And in coming from that place of lack, I literally drove my wife away. It took years to reclaim that relationship, to systematically show up and rebuild trust so that she knew and knows that I am there for her 100% and respect her boundaries. And in taking those baby steps and seeing what works and what doesn't, I became more confident. In taking those baby steps and seeing what works and what doesn't, I felt better about who I am. But you know what really makes a difference in self-esteem is do esteemable acts. You know, a esteemable act would be going out and doing something good for someone. Don't tell anyone about it. Yeah, see how that feels. The first time I did that, I was bursting at the seams, dying to tell someone about the good thing that I did, because truthfully, I didn't do a lot of good things for other people. Today, I can go out and do good things for other people and not tell anyone, and it's okay. It's like, it's just part of my life. I just know that part of who I am is someone who helps other people. And I feel good about myself as a result. It's super important to be compassionate with ourselves, right? When we get into that place of guilt and maybe even shame, we need to air that stuff out. We need to have compassion for ourselves so that we're living, growing organisms, developing and evolving. And that as long as we're learning, we no longer need to be guilty. And there's no room for shame. We need to listen to our inner voice. All right, what is that inner voice saying? I used to have an inner voice that all the time said I was an idiot and that said other people were idiots. That voice almost never comes up now. Almost never comes up now. Because I systematically let go of the source of that voice, because I systematically listen for it and talk to that part of myself and help it to understand that that conversation was not helpful to who I am. And if you're having some negative inner talk, I can help you with that. Reach out to me, schedule a call. It's complimentary. It's something I do because I'm on a mission to help parents build bridges so that their children are shielded from destructive conflict. When we're in that place of self-compassion and positive self-talk, another thing that's going to help build it up is creating a supportive environment. We're going to cultivate professional relationships and personal relationships that are going to help us in our journey of self-discovery and growth. We're going to find groups. We're going to find communities. Find a spiritual group that resonates with you. You don't have to bow to them or kowtow to them. You can just be a member of the community. Even if the community has a leader, you don't have to agree with everything the leader says. You can just be a part of the community. You know, in the same way that we live in a country where most of us don't agree with the President of the United States, no matter who it is, on all points, we can be a member of a spiritual community and not agree on all points. It's perfectly okay. In fact, part of having self-esteem is getting that it's okay for us to not agree with someone who's a recognized leader because they don't always know better. That's right. Part of growing your sense of self-esteem is setting personal goals. Maybe that little voice has told you to try pottery and you found you really like it, and a personal goal is you want to be a really good potter. Maybe that little voice has said it's time to go back to law school. Maybe that little voice says it's time to be a stay-at-home dad and really take care of the kids. Whatever that little voice tells you, set some personal goals around it, short-term and long-term goals. When you write down a goal, you're 47% more likely to accomplish it. When you speak it to another human being, you're 95% more likely to accomplish it. So use that support network when you're goal setting. We need to embrace change. We've already talked about letting go, but now we're going to embrace change, all right? In the past, we were afraid that any little change meant, what's going to happen now? This is the other shoe dropping. When we were in that marriage that wasn't working, every change was an opportunity for something bad to happen to us or to the children or the marriage. But now that we're stepping out, we're open to change because what we've learned is that every time something new comes up, if we handle it well, awesome. If we don't handle it so well, awesome, because we learn how to handle that thing better. Everything is an opportunity. So in concluding, what we want to do here is, first, we want to let go of the old stuff. Second, we want to create a strategy in which we embrace self-discovery, in which we explore new interests and passions, where we're rebuilding our confidence and self-esteem, where we're growing, continuously growing our support network and support environment, where we're setting goals and checking in on our goals, where we're embracing change. And when we're doing that, we are literally the phoenix rising out of the fire of divorce. Hey, if you like what you heard today, I want you to subscribe, share it with someone else, listen in. This series is going to continue for at least another 3 episodes, I think. And we are also doing in January a couple of workshops with like 17, 18-page workbooks to help on the subject of helping your children through the divorce process. And we're bringing in guest experts. And in February, it's going to be all about money and divorce, asset division and divorce. And we're going to have guest experts. And we're going to talk, my part, I'm going to help with the emotional side because let's face it, asset division brings up a lot of emotions. And so we're going to work on these in these workshops. And these workshops are absolutely free. You go to the website and learn more, or email me directly, rich@richinrelationship.com, or check our Facebook page. They'll be posted on the Facebook page. Stay tuned for more here on Rich in Relationship. And thank you again for tuning in.